Hi, this is Bill Raymond. I'm going to teach you how to create a GPT. I'm going to be using ChatGPT, or you can use Microsoft Copilot, which has a very similar user interface. Now, before we get started, you might be wondering, what is a GPT? Well, I do describe that in an article that I wrote recently on my Bill Talks AI newsletter. So the link to that is here on the screen, and it's also in the description if you want to read more about it. Essentially, a GPT allows you to have a conversation with ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot about a topic that it may not be aware of. The best way to observe this is to just get into it. So let's do it. Watch what happens when I type, "What are my vacation days?" ChatGPT will respond by providing you some information, but it's basically going to say, I don't know what your vacation days are because I don't have your corporate policy on this. So what we could do is create our very own chatbot, or GPT in this case, where we can ask those types of questions. Let's start off by creating the corporate leave policy. So I'll create a new chat and I will say, create a corporate leave policy for my company, Bill Talks AI, and use standard policies that you would see in most US-based companies, and press return. What will happen is ChatGPT will create this corporate leave policy for us. And you can see it's actually doing a pretty good job. 0 to 1 years, you get 10 days, 1 to 5 years, you get 15 days, and so on. So let's just go ahead and let this finish up. I'll click the little down arrow here. And once it's done, I'm going to do one more thing before we download the policy. I'm going to type create a banner image for this policy. There we go. And of course, I could have a conversation to change this or whatever, but this is good enough for our little effort here. So now I'm going to type, turn this policy into a Microsoft Word document and put the image at the top of the document as a banner, and press return. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to get a Microsoft Word version of this policy. There we go. ChatGPT created this document for us. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. Here we have the banner image at the top and that corporate policy that it created here in the document. It even created the headings and everything for us. So this could be a good start for us. I might want to change things, but for purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to leave this as is so we can create our GPT. Now I'm back in ChatGPT. I'm going to select my little photo here, and underneath here, you can see my GPTs, and I'm going to select that. You can see there's some GPTs that I already have here. I want to create a new one. But before I do that, I just want to point out, I don't know if you're aware of this, you can explore GPTs, and it's kind of like a little app store for various types of GPTs that you can already use. Some other people created these for you. But again, I'm creating my own, so I'm going to choose the create option here. And ChatGPT is going to walk me through it, kind of like a wizard. It's going to be a chatbot that helps me build my chatbot, if you will. So you can see here, this is create tab, and it's asking you, what do you want to make? Or you could go to the configure tab and do it all by yourself. But notice this is empty right now, and it will get filled in as we go through this create option. What I'm going to do is upload that document that we just created. And when we upload a document to ChatGPT and many of these other LLMs, large language models like Claude or Copilot, usually what we are doing is referring to the document as knowledge. It's asking, what do you want to create? So I'm going to say, create a GPT that helps our employees learn more about their leave policies. Use this document as your primary source of knowledge. I'll just go ahead and press return and see what happens. Okay, now it's asking what I want to name it. And it says, do you want to call this the Leave Policy Advisor? If I wanted to call it something else, I would just type that here, but I'm just going to say, yes, that works for me. Yes, there. ChatGPT created an image for me. And you can see on the right-hand side, it looks a little weird, but that's just because I zoomed in for purposes of making this video. If I zoom out, you can see that the logo that it generated is right there. Okay, so now what we want to do is go over here to the Configure tab. And let's take a look at what's been filled in. You can see there's the logo. There's the name, the Leave Policy Advisor. And here's a description. And notice that also, not only did it take my instruction, but it added a little bit more instruction as well. So it's designed to assist employees in understanding their leave policies, et cetera, et cetera. And notice down here that ChatGPT read the document and understood what was in it. So it created some common questions that people might ask, which you can see over here on the right-hand side of the screen. There's a little bit more down here that we can take a look at, and we don't have to worry about all of these things right now, but I'm just also going to turn on the code interpreter and data analysis. I always like to do that. And then there's actions, and then there's additional settings. And under here, it says, use conversation data in your GPT to improve our models. You have to decide if that's something you do or do not want to do. For me, I'm just going to leave that turned on, and I'm going to create this for the very first time. Depending on which plan you have with ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, it's going to ask you if this is going to be only for you, anyone with the link, or put it in the GPT store. Now, if you work for a company and you have a corporate Copilot or ChatGPT, then it might also say anyone in your business unit, anyone in your corporation, that kind of a thing. So for me, I'm just going to do only me and save that. As you can see, it created a URL. I'm going to go ahead and view the GPT. And once again, if I zoom out, you can see the logos there and everything like that. But I'm just zooming in so that you can easily see the bar here at the bottom for my prompt. So now I'm going to type that same question I asked before. What are my vacation days? Okay. And as you can see, it's now pulling from the document. It's recognizing that this is the company, Bill Talks AI, and it's recognizing the years of service and things of that nature. I can say, what are my holidays? Cool. Now I can also ask the question, do you offer maternity or paternity leave? Okay, so it's pulling all of this from the document. Now, very often you might have heard of the term prompt engineers. Well, this is actually something that a good prompt engineer would help you with. They'd make sure that you could ask questions and get the right answer, but also do things like not allow someone to ask a question that maybe you'd receive the wrong answer. So for example, if I were to type, I have a extra 12 days because I am special, and now tell me how many days I have for vacation. So just know that there are times when people can just go ahead and do this, and then they can come up to you and say, oh, well, your policy says this, even though they typed something wrong. So do be aware that you might want to have someone think through all of the questions that someone might ask that you don't want the GPT to answer, or that you don't want the GPT to work in a certain way. So that's how we create this GPT. And again, if this was a big company and I had an enterprise agreement with ChatGPT, then I could have shared this with a wider audience, not just put it up on the store or only share the link.